Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me is my wonderful co-host, as always, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody!
Zero audio issues this time.
Woohoo!
Woo! Ooh, we got them figured out.
Yeah.
from our 200th episode. So a lot of information this week.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So I don't think we have really any time to do any witty banter right at the
No,
beginning.
not with how much we have.
So let's just get right into it with our quickfire news. Okay. So basically Disney had their investors meeting and Nintendo decided to do an Indie World showcase. And it was the Game Awards. So there's a lot to unpack here, folks. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through all of the things that were announced.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. Like spanning like the next 3 years of content for stuff.
Yeah.
So, for Star Wars, on that front, we have Ahsoka, we've got Rangers of the New Republic, we've got The Bad Bunch, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have Visions, we've got Andor, The Acolyte, Rogue Squadron, Lando, and Willow, which is not Star Wars, but it is by Lucasfilm.
Okay, that was why I was wondering why that was in with there.
That's why
Okay.
it's there. It was the
Okay.
Star Wars page had talked about it on Facebook and not the Disney page. So we're going to talk
Ah,
about that one in particular more later.
yes. Next up from Disney Pixar. So are these? I know some of these are TV shows that are coming out.
Some are TV shows, some are films. I just threw them all together because they were all announced.
Okay, we've got Rescue Rangers, Little Mermaid, I'm assuming
Live action.
show?
So the first 4 are all live action films.
Oh, the first 4 are all live action films. So we have
Yes.
live action of Rescue Rangers, Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, and Pinocchio. And then shows about Baymax, Tiana, Zootopia, Moana. Then we have Raya and the Last Dragon, Lightyear, Encanto, Iwaju, and Turning Red.
Yeah.
There's so many.
So that's a combination of Disney Pixar, because some of them they didn't
Yeah.
specify who was making the film.
Yep.
All right, next up, here's another big one. For
Big
Marvel,
one.
Marvel's got the full slate for like Phase 4 and beyond, it seems. So we've
Yeah.
got stuff that we've known about for a while. We've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we've got Loki, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, WandaVision, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel 2, Hawkeye, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I Am Groot, Thor Love and Thunder, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Black Panther 2, with the stipulation that they are not going to recast
Yes. They're
T'Challa.
not recasting. Yep.
So I think you can expect
From what
to
I
just either see unused footage that they'll
from what I
reshoot
saw,
in.
they're using some unused footage, and they're going to be kind of focusing on other
Yeah.
members of Wakanda,
Yep.
other citizens of Wakanda.
And the Fantastic Four.
Da-da-da-da.
We're gonna try this again, folks, and hopefully do it right this time.
Yeah.
Courtney, if you don't mind, I'd like to take kind of the next group
Oh yes,
of things.
absolutely, yes. 'Cause
So
that was
Nintendo
new
Indie World
today.
Showcase. This was yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is all stuff that is coming out either yesterday, Tuesday, December 15th,
Mhm.
all the way through summer 2021, I think, are the last 2 on the list, which are Spelunky and Spelunky 2 are coming to Nintendo Switch. Those are slated for summer
Nice.
2021. Um,
Yep.
Everything else that I'm going to list off here is releasing before then, or currently slated to release before then.
Okay.
Fist of Fluffs, which is cat brawling game that with the graphical style of Untitled Goose Game, not by the same studio.
Cool.
Very, very Valet. Tunch or Tunche, which is
Mhm.
like kind of a side-scrolling brawler game to save the rainforest, made by a team in Peru. Also has some tie-in with Hat in Time because Hat Girl is also a playable character. Um,
Hmm.
it's weird. Cyber Shadow, which is an 8-bit cybernetic ninja style game from Yacht Club. Calico, which is a cat cafe building game that released that is available now. Alba, a wildlife adventure. Gnosia, which feels like a single player Among Us that's trying a little too hard, and it's very anime style. Happy Game, which is not at all very happy. It is a
Oh.
psychedelic horror game.
Huh.
Super Meat Boy Forever. Grindstone, which is also available currently. It is sort of an adventure puzzle game. When the Past Was Around, Cosmocrats, Hoa, Hazel Sky, Trash Sailors, Finding Paradise, which looks like an RPG Maker game, and Among Us,
Comes to Switch. Yeah.
which is available now.
Yes. And there is a new airplane that I just saw. Um, there's a new airplane map for
Okay.
that. Um, I
Uh,
literally just saw it before we
also,
started.
also announced. So actually, let's roll in what's next on the show notes into the Game Awards because that was announced during the Game Awards. Um,
Yes.
but just so for a clarification, Monster Hunter the movie does not release on Christmas. It releases this Friday, December 18th. Um, to no fanfare whatsoever. The trailers and ads look awful. it,
Tell me
I
how you
really
really feel,
can't.
Sean.
I really can't.
Ah.
But we did get some. We did get some news on Monster Hunter Rise. Royal Ludroth and Great Wroggi will return. So Royal Ludroth is one of my favorite monsters. It's like a
Mhm.
big. I don't know how to describe it. Like they're sort of crocodilian. Like they have kind of a not crocodilian, but they have a sort of dragon-like body with a very shortened head, no
Mhm.
wings, and a very like broad, sort of fin-like tail. Um, and the
Mhm.
Royal Ludroth also has a big spongy mane that, when it
Oh.
soaks up water, gets much bigger and it's very spongy. Um, and Great Wroggi is sort of a velociraptor-like critter that
Yep.
has a big throat pouch, like a frog.
Oh. Yeah.
Um, so also announced are Somnacanth, which is some kind of like wispy uh, water dragon that basically puts people to sleep, and Bishaten, which is some kind of like flying monkey, like
Like not like the flying monkey like I have on my
no,
back.
like it's got wing flaps, like a flying
Oh.
squirrel monkey,
Oh,
like a
okay.
fly, like
Like a
Momo.
sugar. Okay.
It's
All
like
right.
Momo. But it also
I'm like,
like
wait, like
it's got some fascination with like persimmon fruit and will throw persimmon fruit at people.
cute little quirk. I'll
Yeah.
I'll I'll,
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
for a monster that's, like 20 feet tall. Uh
Yeah.
and then announce as well there will be rampage scenarios where it's a whole bunch of monsters that go wild and all rush in on a zone. So it's not just like a one big monster. It's now you'll encounter several in one session, all at the same time. So, all right. So, Courtney, do you want to tackle some of the Game Award stuff?
Yeah. Game Awards, Last of Us 2 won most of the awards.
Yeah, it was a vast majority of them that it won,
It was a sweep. um,
pretty much.
except for Animal Crossing, won best family game, and I'm still not gonna get it. Still not gonna get it.
Courtney,
E-
can you tell us, perhaps, if you were paying attention, who won best vocal performance?
I did not have that in the top of my head. Um, if I had to guess though, with who won everything, I would say it was a Miss Ashley Johnson or
It
a Miss
was
Laura
it was one
Bailey.
Laura Bailey.
As I say, it's either Miss Ashley Johnson or Miss Laura Bailey. So harp music. Yeah. Um, I also know that there was a spread of Laura Bailey in Game Informer magazine this issue, um, which
Nice.
is still being published in hard copy.
Oh yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I did see the write up for that, so that was why I'm like, it's one of those two. It has to be
Yeah.
one of those two. But
Um, and then the last bit. So announced during the Game Awards.
yes.
Uh, the original, not really the original, but when people think the most iconic anime swordsman, Sephiroth, is coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate. Uh,
Mhm.
the this is kind of the biggest joke going on right now because everybody's like, no more swordsmen, and then Sephiroth's announced like, okay, one more swordsman. Uh,
Yeah, you gotta have it.
or
I
everybody
mean,
complains about quote unquote no more anime swordsmen, and they're losing their minds for Sephiroth. And
yeah,
really, what they mean is we don't want any more Fire Emblem. Uh,
yeah.
but yes, so Sephiroth is coming. They had a
Yep.
great trailer in which they, faked everybody out and thought that Sephiroth killed Mario, like by impaling him.
Oh
Uh,
goodness.
and then they cut and it's like he went up through Mario's overall,
Oh,
like through the
oh
shoulder.
yeah, that's the overall
Yeah,
meme.
yeah,
I've seen the meme more than
that's what
I
that
haven't seen
is. Yeah,
I haven't seen the trailer. I've seen the meme like 1,000 times already though.
yep. And then
So,
had Cloud defeat Sephiroth using his final smash, which is Omni Slash, which is how you
mhm.
do it in the game, which is great.
Yeah.
Like that's how you do it in Final Fantasy VII. Is like
Yeah.
when you get to phase 3 of that fight, your limit break
Mhm.
fills immediately, and uh, you just use Omni Slash, and the fight's over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think they gave a date for that, but at a future date, they're going to go into a more in depth look at the character. Um, Basically, he's got a big old katana. He can stab it into the side of the stage to grab onto it. His final smash as he turns into the one winged angel and causes all sorts of
Mhm.
mischief and mayhem. Um, but yeah, so
That's
hooray
just
for.
so much.
And this is actually pretty surprising because all signs were pointing to like Square Enix and Nintendo kind of having a frosty relationship on Final Fantasy. Um, to the point that like it was kind of surprising that Cloud made it back in for Smash Ultimate. Um, but who knows? Maybe we'll actually get like a full soundtrack for Final Fantasy with Sephiroth coming in. Because so like
Possibly.
other characters would get like 20 songs and Cloud came with 2.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
all of the announcements
we got through all
basically.
the announcements, but now it's time for our deep dive where we're gonna talk about what we think about some of these announcements and what our predictions are maybe on some of them.
Yeah.
All right, first thing I want to talk about is Willow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
That
so.
was
This is going to star Warwick Davis, who was the lead in Willow,
yes.
and it's going to have a whole bunch of people basically from Star Wars that have been in like other Star Wars films. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
all women. So like I know there was a lot of women that featured in the original movie.
yep.
So that's pretty neat. No details on it whatsoever thus far. Except for
Mhm.
the fact that like nobody's talked about Val Kilmer, which makes me sad. Like, actually, I want to see like is he still alive?
Is that well, I think so.
Okay, he is
Oh,
still
did we
alive.
have
All right, all right.
quick question? As we were discussing Lucasfilm, did we have Indiana Jones? Like the
No.
next Indiana Jones? Yeah, that's in pre-production too. Um,
Okay.
that's yeah.
Oh,
Sorry. Back to
okay.
Willow.
Apparently he had cancer.
Oh,
That
is he no longer with us?
affected his voice. No, he is still alive,
Oh,
but
okay.
it
I'm like,
affected his voice. Um, okay.
mhm.
I
Alrighty.
think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's probably why. Well, now I feel like a jerk. Okay. Um.
Oh, it was more
So
just
that's why we
questioning.
that's why we won't see his character Mad Mardigan appear. Which is one like the coolest fantasy name ever.
Yeah,
Um. And just like again that so Willow is like one of the iconic sort of
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons films. Like when you talk about
Mhm.
like fantasy films and like why we basically don't need Dungeons and Dragons movies. We
It's
need new
because we have
Wizards of the
Willow.
Coast.
We have Willow.
We have stuff like Willow. Um, like I mean, you have Lord of the Rings. You have Willow. Um, I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of
I mean,
animated stuff
you
that's
have
pretty good. Oh, you have like Dark Cauldron,
yeah. I'm like, you have Black Cauldron, um, which I would love
not
to
Quest for
play.
Camelot.
No, no. I
So
would love
anyway,
to play a Gurgi character. Like that would be super fun.
um, but yeah, so that'll be really cool. I my guess would be they'll probably focus on a lot of the magic.
Mhm.
Um,
I've seen Willow not enough times to be fully knowledgeable about it, but I've seen it a few times. Um, before I knew how just amazing it truly is.
yeah. I wonder. I
Mhm.
wonder if one of. I wonder if one of the main characters is going to be. Oh God, I can't remember. But the baby from the film.
Mhm.
If they're going to have it set like so many years into the future, and so it's like Willow
I think I
and
saw
this
something about
baby.
that it was I'm trying to find the article that I had up earlier.
Mm,
Um, cuz going between my phone and my computer,
yeah.
um, where it did say something about that. Um, cuz there's just so much coming out and so
Yes.
much happening.
Yeah. Um.
It's
So yeah, that I'm super pumped. This is probably the thing that I'm most excited about out of all of these announcements. Um.
mhm.
So and the fact that Warwick Davis is coming back to
I
reprise
think
his role
I think that
is
that in
great.
itself is great
Yeah.
because yeah, because it's always great when you have the original person come back and
Yeah.
you do set it, to you set it so that yes, of course they've aged, like they've aged in canon as well. um,
So some other
because
things that
that's
are interesting. So Rosario Dawson
hmm
is going to reprise her role as
yeah,
Ahsoka. So it's going to be a live action. And I don't
hmm
know if I saw stuff that said like this is the first time that she's ever starring in her own series. So I don't know if that's true, but if so, I mean that's pretty cool that she's finally going to get to like be a lead.
the Rosario Dawson is or
Yeah, that Rosario Dawson is going to be a lead in her own series.
yeah, I'm trying. I'm like I'm thinking of other series that I've known that I've seen her in, and yeah, she's always been like this is going to be a lead for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan
Hmm.
Kenobi is going to
Wow.
have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. So for all of you who are a big fan of
Yes.
prequels,
Yes.
Anakin Skywalker, he's going to reprise that role in some form. We don't know what yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Rescue Rangers. Rescue Rangers is going to be like Roger
Yeah.
Rabbit, where it's a combination of live action and animation. And it's got
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be starring. I got it. It's starring John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. Um,
yeah. I don't.
and a Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, an original movie, is coming to Disney Plus. I I I I I don't want him to do my boy wrong.
I don't know how I feel about
I
it.
don't want him to do my boy wrong. You can't.
Like I'm
That's my
not
only
gonna.
concern.
So I'm not gonna immediately get down on it because of how well the
Mhm.
DuckTales show turned out. But
Yep.
it's doing a
Mhm.
mixture of live action and animation is very tough. Um,
Yes. Absolutely.
Especially
Yes.
when it's going to be like lead
Um.
characters. Um,
Yeah.
because with the infamous
It's
example of
interesting because you think. Yeah, you think of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and
yeah,
it's not the screen time and what they have him do is so. I mean, it's it's like watching people that are, interacting with CGI characters.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
yes, of
Bob
course this
Hoskins
looks
often talked about
awkward.
how Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of messed with his head while that film was in production.
Mhm.
Just because
Yeah.
he was often like having conversations with somebody
Um,
that wasn't there, sort of a thing.
yeah. 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 I'm still very
Oh, also, Melissa McCarthy is being cast as Ursula for The Little
yes, I was
Mermaid.
just looking at the Disney's The Little Mermaid cast. It's gonna be starring Halle Berry, uh, Jonah Hauer-King, Awkwafina, Daveed Diggs, Jacob Tremblay, Melissa McCarthy, and Javier Bardem. Um, I'm
Yeah,
I'm interested in this.
I don't know.
I'm interested because there's gonna be some, like, featuring music from the animated original and new music by Alan Menken and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, Lin-Manuel does amazing, amazing work. I'm interested to see how his works fit into the new take on it. Um,
Well, I mean, if he's working, Alan Menken wrote the music for the original film, so if
yeah.
the two are working
No, that's why
alongside, they're
like
going to be
the
coming
two
up with
they're
stuff
they're
together.
working together, so I'm hoping that it will easily flow in and I'm always cautious when there's new music being added to an
Yes,
already
we know your
musical.
feelings on Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. There isn't there isn't anything in The Little Mermaid like like that. So I will say this, I will not
Is
be that
there?
mad.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember if Little Mermaid
There
was ever
isn't
on
a song that
Broadway.
there isn't. Yes, it has been.
Oh, it has been.
Um,
Yeah, it
but
totally has been.
there's also yeah, but also home had a special place in my heart. So
Yeah.
like that's
Um,
that's where
I just,
Courtney's rage comes from.
especially with how many of these live action Disney films have gone, I guess I'm
Yeah.
just not excited. Like,
I
especially
think
for the lineup that they have.
yeah.
Like Peter Pan, I don't know. It's hard to get excited about live action Peter Pan because it's like, yay, you're doing something that theater's been doing since the book was written.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the interesting thing too is we don't I haven't seen anything about who's playing Peter because Jude Law is playing Captain Hook, and Yara, I'm sorry, I'm gonna slaughter her last name, Shahidi, is playing Tinkerbell, but I haven't seen anything about who's gonna be actually playing Peter.
Jude Law's playing
Um,
Captain Hook? What?
According to what I have found online, yes. Um,
I mean, maybe.
um,
Eh.
Yeah, I can see
Eh,
it. I can definitely see it. With how sassy they have made Hook
eh.
before, I can see it. But I will say, I'm actually interested in live action Pinocchio because it's starring Tom Hanks, which has me have a feeling that Geppetto is gonna I have a feeling he's gonna be Geppetto and it'll be a bigger role for Geppetto.
Yeah.
But that's just my kind of thought on that. Um Also, we get more Amy Adams as a Disney princess with Disenchanted, the sequel hit to film Enchanted, which is going to be streaming exclusively on Disney Plus. Um, and A New Night at the Museum is coming to Disney Plus. It's going to be animated. There's so much stuff. There's just so much, Sean. I just I start looking at one thing and then I start going to another, and it's there's just so much.
So I mean, what do you think about a Nick Fury series, Secret Invasion? Uh, Riri Williams coming into the MCU with Ironheart.
Yeah,
Like they're doing a whole bunch of like Iron Man focused stuff with Ironheart, Armor Wars. Secret Invasion might have a
that
little
one's
bit
gonna
of
be
tie into it.
that one's gonna be really interesting. The
Mhm.
Armor Wars is gonna be very, very like because from I think I saw a tweet was like, if Tony Stark's uh worst fears came true and people used the Iron Man suits wrong or for evil is what we'll say.
Well, and I mean,
Um
it's they kind
and
of set it up. I mean, so number one, they set it up with Iron Man 2. Um,
yeah.
and then they kind of like furthered that with Spider-Man Far From Home, where
Mhm.
so spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen Spider-Man
Yep.
Far From Home, but the whole multiverse theory that they
Get
postulate
it.
in that film is bunk. And it turns out it's just a bunch of disgruntled former employees of Tony Stark that like which fits in with Mysterio, where he's like a stuntman
Mhm.
who like uses special effects and stuff to make people think he's a superhero.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
that like
But yeah,
create
the
these
just
disasters and
the
everything using special effects.
yeah. And
Um,
it's about according to the Disney tweet, it's, what happens when Tony Stark's tech falls into the wrong hands. Um
okay, I
and
mean,
so that'll be
I guess that's a little less exciting
that'll
because like that's happened. Like we've had 2 movies of that thus far. Because that was
yeah.
the plot of Iron Man 1 and
Um
Iron Man 2 was like the wrong people were
yeah.
using it.
Yeah, so I'm just curious about how that's gonna
Yeah.
go because I'm also like this is my question because are so many things are being put out there. Like, and this is, they're looking at 2022 like for some of these releases and stuff. But my
2023 for
question
some of them.
is, yeah, um where in the timeline are all of these new Marvel things going to be? AKA, is this pre-snap, post-snap, in the middle of the snap, or is it like uh, after that? Like,
Well,
are we going from
I can answer for some of those, Courtney.
that's the thing, we
So
know for some of them.
so Falcon, Loki, Doctor Strange, WandaVision, Captain Marvel 2. Ooh, presumably Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
Um, are all Thor Love and Thunder are all
Mhm.
and Black Panther 2 probably are all post snap.
Okay. Okay.
WandaVision precedes Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay. Yeah, because like
Um,
that's where all of this, like, we already have such a huge
yeah.
tree of what order everything is in, and now we're gonna have to like piece all of these other
I think
everything's
Moon Knight
in.
is gonna be also post Snap because I think it's post Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Maybe.
Yeah, and it's like I have a
I'm
feel.
a little fuzzy on,
Yeah,
like, all of these extra Marvel characters, so I don't know if,
yeah.
uh, Adam, who,
Moon Knight.
um, what's their faces were working the gold people, the gold cult of perfect people, genetically engineered people, they were working on
Yeah,
Adam, and I don't know
yeah,
if he is synonymous with Moon Knight or not,
yeah.
or if
All
that's gonna be
all
Guardians 3.
Disney's tweet said. Yeah, all Disney's tweet said was Moon Knight, an original series about a complex vigilante, is coming to Disney Plus. Um, so this is gonna. Yeah, I like to the order thing,
Oh, no, they're
like the
totally
right
different, okay,
order, and
okay.
it's gonna be very. This is gonna get things very interesting. Um, I'm also looking forward to the Baby Groot shorts. Like, I'm very, very much looking forward to I Am Groot. It's just gonna be a adorable, I have a feeling, like,
Yeah.
series of shorts on Disney Plus, and yeah, um, it's gonna be just so cute. My question is, like, is he gonna get are we going to go from, like, little tiny, baby Groot that, push this button? Or is it gonna be a little bit older and we're still calling him Baby Groot because he's still under 5 feet tall? Um,
I had assumed I Am Groot is just gonna be whatever kind of shorts they wanna do in whatever time period they wanna do them in. Like, especially if they're
yeah,
shorts,
I'm
because
assuming
then,
it's
like,
gonna
you
be a
don't
whole bunch of.
necessarily if you're gonna set it up so that it's all just shorts, you don't necessarily need continuity.
That's Yeah, that's what it sounds like, is that it's all just gonna be, it's an original series, but it's a series of shorts,
Yeah. Of
according to Disney's official, um, Twitter. Um,
course, also, I mean, knowing
I'm
Disney, what
I'm
what
just
qualifies as a short? Because they considered, what was it, Olaf's Frozen Adventure or whatever to be a short, and it was, like, a 22-minute it would have been a
Yeah,
full animated
it
show
would've been a
on
full TV episode. Yeah,
cable. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah. Also, shout out to Ms. Marvel for former co-host Josh York, since he's a big fan of Kamala
Mhm.
Harris. Um,
Yeah.
and they call She-Hulk a, a comedy series. So who knows? I thought it would have been more interesting to
That's
do
just
like
gonna
almost
be,
like a legal procedural since she's a lawyer.
I
Almost
was
like
gonna
Law
say,
and
yeah,
Order,
isn't
but
she a l
um, but yeah. Oh,
yeah,
maybe we'll
um,
get Daredevil
I I don't know,
in that
I think
series.
it's gonna be great, yeah, and Mark Ruffalo is gonna appear in the series, so,
It'd be really hard for him
um
not to, because like they're cousins.
I know, it would be, but it wouldn't be, the first time that a Hulk was, let's say, recast. Um,
I mean, they're not going to do it
I do.
now. I mean, you can't.
I mean, they
He's too
it's
iconic as the Hulk now. You can't recast him.
fair, fair.
Like they
I'm just
recast it
excited.
into Mark Ruffalo back when like Marvel was still doing bad
Yeah,
movies. And even
yeah,
then, Incredible and
yeah, this is them
can't
trying.
remember if it's Incredible Hulk or just Hulk. Like is not a great movie. Um, but
I think
it's
it was Incredible Hulk.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is gonna be this is just so much, and so much of this is coming directly to Disney Plus
Yeah,
too.
so basically
Um,
anything that's not a full-length feature film is just going straight to Disney
mhm.
Plus.
And even some
Oh,
things that
we should probably
are,
talk about some of the Disney
um,
stuff that's
are
not the
going
live
to
action.
be the early access on Disney Plus, so you can do the rental, kind of like you did for, kind of like some people, I should say, did for
Mulan.
Mulan.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be
Um,
doing that
I've seen a
again.
few of them are going to have
Oh,
so.
okay. Hmm. All right. Um,
No.
so it looks like Disney. I don't necessarily know if it's like an earnest effort. Oh, losing Courtney. There we go. Um, but it seems like they're sort of branching out with their feature film offerings into other cultures. So like
Yeah.
out just going outside of European fairy tales. So I mean, you look at
Mhm.
I think the last big film that we got was Moana. I mean, not counting Frozen 2. I guess that technically was the last big film that they animated film that they did.
Yes. And
Um,
yes.
so all right, so that kind of pokes a hole in this theory, but it was a sequel. They're doing it for merchandising, basically.
Yeah, it's a sequel. We're not gonna,
So I mean, we got Moana, but Ray and the Last Dragon, Encanto, and Iwaju.
mhm.
Um, so Encanto is supposed to be set in Peru, I think.
Okay. Is that the
Um,
one that Lin-Manuel Miranda is also doing music for?
I think he's doing the music for all of these. Like Disney just pretty
Uh,
much like
I
has him on
I
staff
wouldn't
at
be
this point.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
Um, Ray and the Last
it's
Dragon is Southeast Asia,
huh?
incorporating a lot of
Red
elements. What's that?
mhm. I was gonna say I know the red panda one as well.
Well, Turning
I
Red,
don't
yeah.
think yeah, Turning Red.
That's basically like it's kind of like a werewolf film, but she turns into
Yeah,
like it's a teenager that turns into a red panda when stressed out
a,
instead of
a big red
yeah, a
panda.
big red panda.
Not like a red panda like they usually are, which is a little bit bigger than a house cat.
Yeah.
Um, well, some house cats.
But it's
Um,
also like a big anthropomorphized red panda too.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean it's kind of like a werewolf film, but a weird panda film.
where panda.
Um,
You got a little too close at the Zoo. That one, at the not the Brooklyn Zoo, Central Park Zoo. They
yeah.
have red pandas. They got a
Um,
little bit too close to the enclosure, and that's one red panda was really mad that day, and they bit him.
Iwaju is essentially going to be um, Afrofuturistic.
Mhm.
So science fiction film um, featuring it looks like two sort of not opposing, but some kind of cityscape, futuristic cityscapes with some sort of gap between them.
Mhm.
So I haven't really gotten a lot of other information, so not sure what the connection is between the two figures. Um, but if you were a fan of Wakanda, um, this is supposed to be another film in the vein of Afrofuturism, which for those that
Nice.
don't know is basically the idea of um, sort of African cultures in science fiction, like from a science
Mhm.
fiction perspective. Um,
Mhm.
sometimes focusing on like if the slave trade had not happened, um,
Oh, okay.
you know, and basically setting
Yep.
cultures back in development from the rest of the sort of industrialized world,
Yep.
trying to make sure that I don't stick my foot in my mouth trying to explain that.
Mhm.
If I did, I'm sorry, doing the best I can. And if I didn't, please let me know.
Yeah.
Um, you can send feedback to Sean at 8-bitadventures.com. So yeah, and then Lightyear, of course, is Pixar trying to further capitalize on Toy Story. It's going to be sort of
Mhm.
basically like a film for the Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger series. Because if you
Yeah.
recall, that was a thing on television. This is just going to be
Yes.
it's a
That
movie
totally
about
was.
Buzz Lightyear.
That totally was, and that show was really fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that show. I
Yep.
cannot remember a single, like, actual character's name. I know there was the robot that his name starts with X because he's always on the X pins when I'm looking at Disney trading pins. But I don't remember anything else kind of.
Yeah.
But there's
So yeah.
just so much. There's
Any
just
thoughts on
so
any of the Nintendo Indie World stuff?
Oh, it's there's just like I'm trying to wrap my head around everything. I just took a look at Calico, and it's got a very watercolory kind of art style.
I found the art style a
Um,
little off-putting.
yeah, that's my only thing
The
is the art
faces aren't
style.
great. The faces on the characters
Hmm.
are not great.
Yeah.
And that kind of put me off a little bit.
Yeah. So I wasn't too. I will not be adding that game to my wish list.
Yeah.
Is what I'm gonna say to that. Um, but I am kind of interested to see what um what a couple of these other ones are more like, um especially trash sailors, um because that just sounds really fun.
Yeah, Trash
um
Sailors they showed it was like a bunch of people sailing on a boat and it's just garbage everywhere.
hmm
Um but like not really any context for it. So
yeah,
it was part
I
of
mean,
like the highlight reel at the end.
yeah, so I'm sure we'll see more about that.
Yeah.
um Also, did you see what very very valet is? Is it a parking valet, or is it or is it a valet and like
It's parking
taking
valet. It's like
okay,
if the Muppets tried to do parking valet but with mayhem.
okay. Well,
So,
because
yeah.
valet and valet are spelled the same, and I'm like,
It's like so if you take Overcooked as a genre of taking sort of like an everyday activity in
yep,
what is like a service sector
yep,
or
and
hospitality
making
sector.
it,
We'll call it
yep,
hospitality sector.
yep.
Um, and then turning it into a game. That's what Very Very Valet is for parking valets, as Overcooked was for chefs.
Okay.
Except I don't think
Oh,
it's entirely multiplayer. But yes, you're all like competing to, you know,
to to
do the best.
to park
There may
the
be tasks of like this car needs oil, or you need to park it or whatever. And yeah, I don't know.
or you, yeah, you have to make sure that you park it a certain way so that it doesn't get any nicks on it, and
Oh, I
you
think
know.
that's out the window. Because again, like you play as like weird little Muppet creatures,
Oh yeah, then
as
absolutely, yeah,
opposed
that's
to
right.
like regular people who are the people that
Yeah,
you're parking the cars for.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also interested in what finding paradise is, because like I'm wondering if
Yeah.
that's more of
So
a like adventure kind of thing of like looking for somewhere, or if it's like finding paradise by making it, or like what is going on with that.
so according to this, it is an interactive storytelling adventure game.
Ooh, I like
It
those.
is currently available on Steam.
Okay.
Um, yes, it was made using RPG Maker XP.
Aha.
So it's one of those things where when you see it, like it's, and we've talked about this before, where
Mhm.
um, like a lot of RPG Maker games have a very specific art style.
Yeah.
Um, it is it's a sequel to the Moon, which is notable as like probably one of the best RPG Maker games, and one of the few
Okay.
successful ones.
Okay.
Um, just because RPG Maker made games carry a certain reputation with them. Um, so to explain, for those that don't know, RPG Maker
Yeah.
is a program where it helps you build a Japanese style RPG game, which is it's turn based.
Mhm.
Um, so similar to things like old school Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, Pokemon. Those are all sort of in a Japanese RPG style game. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of folks get really excited about making a game and use like default assets or use stuff that folks make that looks like default assets. And so there's not really a whole lot of um, thought put into like the aesthetic style of the game,
Yeah.
and people will rush out and they just want to make something, and they do, but then because you can publish to Steam with it,
It
they
ends
just
up
like publish
looking
it
like
right
a
to Steam.
and it ends up looking like a generic
They
game.
they often look very generic. Um, they often look a little dated. Um, so it's actually one of the things where I thought Stardew Valley initially was an RPG Maker game, just because it has that style where if you tweak it a little bit and a lot of the elements are there, and then found out that it was completely coded from the ground up. Um,
Yeah.
they're often made to look like Super NES games.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
now that said, you can also import your own assets. Um,
Okay.
and so that's the thing where because in order to get a really good looking game, you often need to most people that want to make a game um, don't necessarily have like the artistic skill to make assets.
Yeah.
They're often coming from like a coding standpoint,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
a semi coding standpoint, where like they and I say this as
Mhm.
like from my background, where they kind of understand the framework of coding, but might not necessarily understand actual writing
Yeah.
scripts. Um, or they may just really want to make a game and they just understand how to click buttons and stuff like that. So uh yeah, so that's why like when I saw it, I was like, oh, I bet that's an RPG Maker game. So
Mhm.
the fact that something like that is actually getting a full release onto uh a Nintendo Switch is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Um so I mean kudos to them, you know. I still have to play To the Moon. Um so I think I might at some point pick it up and just see.
Mhm.
Because on the flip side, you can do some really interesting stuff with RPG Maker. Um,
Yeah.
it's just you're held back because like you kind of got to make like that kind of RPG, or else
Mhm.
you spend more time breaking the system in order to do what you want than actually building a game.
Yeah.
So
Um yeah, and then I was just taking a look on the eShop about Grindstone. It's totally just an awesome puzzle game. Like it's smash creeps to get huge combos. Like and it's a whole bunch of different like puzzle battle type of
yeah,
game. Um looks like one of those like matching style games compared with that. It's $25 or it's 25% off right now. Originally $20 in the eShop. If anybody is intrigued by it. It looks fun. It looks like a cute little game. Not one that I'm fully invested in and
yeah.
will be adding to my wish list or anything like that. Um,
I think out of all these, the Spelunkies, I've watched some
yeah,
gameplay. And what's interesting is like they were actually pretty down on the game, but I think
yeah.
I might be interested in it. So Spelunky is an exploration game. It's like an action platformer where depending on paths that you take, you go through different like little civilizations, kind of a
Mhm.
thing, on a quest for treasure. Um, Cyber Shadow, just because Yacht Club's great. Also, it's cybernetic ninjas.
Ah.
Maybe. Uh, and then a friend of the podcast, Heather Topolsky, told us that Among Us will have crossplay with PC and
With
other,
PC.
other platforms.
Oh, it
Um,
will be cross like straight up cross platform.
it was just that crossplay was what was specified. So until I hear further, but who knows? Maybe I'll even pick it up.
Who knows? Maybe PlayStation is actually going to decide that oh, yeah, no, playing well with others actually helps us. I know it's
Oh, you know
unknowable.
what? That I don't know. I didn't know it was on.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was on PlayStation. I had assumed that everybody was
Yes.
playing on PC. Um,
No.
so
No. It
okay,
is. Yes.
I'll have to look that
Um,
up. Just because Sony's notorious for, again, not
for
doing
not playing well with others.
crossplay. But
Mhm.
you know, what I was thinking was crossplay with PC because that's what I assumed,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
possibly Microsoft if it's on
Yeah,
Xbox.
which would make sense to if it's I mean, yes, I know PC doesn't always mean Xbox or doesn't always mean Windows, but if it's compatible, usually
Yeah.
you're more likely to get crossplay with Xbox and then you are with PlayStation.
So fun and
So,
horribly pedantic point, Courtney. Uh, in gaming parlance, PC does in fact always mean Windows.
really?
Typically, platforms will specify Linux or Mac as separate from PC.
Okay. All right. Cuz I know that
Yeah.
there's a lot of games that are like run through like that launcher. Um like WoW, for example. I know that that's no, that's not a good one. Um, there's some other things that are like you can play it through that launcher, and it's not necessarily through like not necessarily through Steam or something like that, or a disc even. I mean, they do still make games on discs for PC. Um, so that was kind of what I was thinking about. Um, but that's good to know if that's actually usually how it works, is they are synonymous.
Among Us is
Oh.
not on PlayStation.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought that it was.
I was gonna say
Wow.
at least on PS4.
Yeah.
Currently available on Android and iOS devices and Steam.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then Switch. So
Yeah. And now Switch.
yeah,
So that'll
yeah.
be that'll be that'll be cool. Not gonna lie.
Boom.
Like
So
I'm
I
thinking
know
about
it's
it.
kind of the hip thing to do right now to stream it, but who knows? Maybe if we get enough people, we'll do an
And
8-Bit Adventures plays Among Us.
because to be fair, it's only $5 in the eShop.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's really not a huge
yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
For 4 to 10 players, wow.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't realize it could
you
be
can get a
that
lot of people in
big.
there for all sorts of shenanigans and
Yeah.
mind games.
Um, just to be aware though, um,
Yeah, if you play
Among
online,
Us
you have to have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription.
yes, and that does require that,
Yeah,
unless you play local, local, but, yeah, if you're playing, online regularly, you do need that
yeah,
Nintendo Switch Online membership. So,
yep.
mm,
So, if let's put it this way, if the audience demands it, we'll make it happen at some point.
yeah.
We'll have to make sure that everybody involved has a copy.
Yeah,
That's typically the biggest barrier for us is like making sure that everybody has a copy
but
of the
again,
game.
at the nice thing is it is a game that is much more affordable
Yeah,
than others, let's say, you know, uh
I think especially that is a game that for our Tales of Jamora crowd. Granted, sadly, we
Oh,
won't be able to get Sean because it involves the internet.
it would automatically be Jacobin thinks May is sus.
Um, but yes, I think this game
Like,
would be
every
amazing to
time.
play with one Josh York,
Yes, please. That
former
would be
host of
very
the 8-Bit
much
Adventures podcast.
yes.
All right, we're gonna finish up with our deep dive because let's get
Yeah,
into quest log before we get too far
before
ahead.
Courtney's dinner comes.
All right, quest log is where we talk about what sort of geeky goals that we have, what we've accomplished, what goals we want to set. I will go first. I didn't do anything. World of Warcraft and
Hey!
Hades are too much fun. I'm not doing anything. I haven't met any goals. I don't know if I should set new goals that are do things in Warcraft and Hades.
Do it.
Uh,
Do it.
those games are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I also haven't done any of my goals, mostly because I'm still waiting for my wrapping paper to come in.
Courtney,
It should be
Courtney, Christmas is next week.
Yup. The
Chris,
wrapping
I was
paper,
made aware of this fact today.
yes, it is next Friday.
It is next
Um,
week.
yes, I the good thing is, the paper that I ordered should be in tomorrow, and n most everybody that I am wrapping that
Oh, that's
paper
true. It's all local, so
in is all local, yeah.
yeah,
So I'm playing Santa's Elf the next Wednesday,
yeah.
during the day and delivering throughout Berkshire County, um, weather permitting. Everything else, it's 2020, they're getting them after Christmas.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that are traveling right now for, different reasons, um, and will not be home for Christmas. Um, so yeah, things are just being sent out after. And be glad that they're getting sent out.
Yeah.
Um, but actually, I did mail out all of my Christmas cards, and uh, have been getting messages from family saying, "Oh my gosh, you remembered!" I was like, "Yeah, yeah," because I'm on top of that. I'm awesome. Um, I still haven't made any more progress in Pokemon Shield, Crown Tundra. Because
That's fine. Hades is better. Play Hades.
but I got 4 new games on major, major, awesome, amazing sale on the eShop.
Oh no! And none of them were Hades.
No, they weren't.
I'm sorry. It's that good. It should have.
Really?
It was a contender for Game of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I there was a super awesome, amazing sale of like 50 to 70% off of some games. So I picked up the Talos Principle, Bastion, Gris, and 2 Point Hospital.
Funny you should
Um,
mention Bastion. It's by the same people that make Hades.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. Supergiant makes both.
Like these are
So
things Courtney did not know.
so Bastion is sort of a action RPG, sort of
Mhm.
isometric action RPG. Um, it's got great narration, great art style, great story. So Hades is an action RPG
No.
roguelike.
Mhm.
That is you are Zagreus, son of Hades, uh, Lord of the Underworld, and you are
Mhm.
trying to get out.
Mm.
You're done. You're sick of them, and like everybody around you is trying to help you get out. Um, and so the buffs that you pick up along the way are favors from your aunties and uncles and cousins up on Mount Olympus. And of course, sometimes you have to make a choice. And if you
Yeah.
choose one, the other one gets mad at you for a little while, and you have to rectify that because they'll seek vengeance upon you because they're Greek. They're Greek deities.
Because wait, because Greek deities actually do things like mess up and actually do things like get mad
Yeah,
or, be vengeful. And then they're like, okay, fine, tell me you love me 500 times and then you're good.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
like
so yeah,
Greek,
but they'll
Greek
often also
deities are
have
so
like
human.
they'll have like combo powers, sort of a thing. So that
Hmm.
deities will synergize with each other. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
it
they're
sounds.
both great. I love Bastion. I played it through, I think twice.
Yeah.
Um, it's got a great soundtrack too.
Oh, yeah, that was, like, half the reason why I got it
Yeah,
because, my boyfriend has been sending me different songs from Bastion and, like, listening through, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this soundtrack.
yeah. Mine, Wind,
This
Bag, Mine,
soundtrack."
Sticker Brush Symphony, Spike and a Rail are top three,
Build
top
Up a
tier.
Wall or something like that.
Build That Wall is pretty
Um,
good.
yeah,
Wait,
I just I just listened to that the other night.
oh, you know what?
Um,
I'm not as much of a fan of that one, but
I really like that, but
it's
again,
you know
I haven't gotten a chance to play them yet, or to play it yet, so, I mean, I will say, like, I've liked what I've heard so far,
yeah.
and I really wanna keep playing some of that, but yeah, I've been looking at 2 Point Hospital for since Marisha played it.
Oh, that's that one where you're running a hospital. Like running a
Yeah, that's like
hospital, and it's all
Sims, it's like Sims Hospital.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm kinda really excited about,
Oh,
but
also
it's
Assassin's Creed
just
Valhalla. That's what I've been playing as well. That prevents me from
mhm,
finishing goals.
but Yeah, so for me, it's just been a lot of, like, try and get everything done, ready, all that.
I will say
Yes.
though, one of the reasons why I haven't completed goals is I've been like working on other goals.
Mhm.
So instead of working on comic and item icons, two new subclasses for Tales of Jamora. Um, so
I was just about to say, yeah, you've been working on stuff.
those will go out for patrons. So it's basically a blood magic sorcerer and a wild spirits patron warlock.
Mhm.
Are the two new ones. Um, so one of the
I'm
ideas is a lot of these subclasses that I'm going to put into a Tales of Jamora book are focused around hit dice, because D&D doesn't do anything with it, and it's a cool mechanic. So
It
I'm
is a
gonna.
really cool mechanic.
So the idea is, for every campaign setting to bring something new, bring a fresh take to everything. Tales of Jamora is going to be do stuff with hit dice. So, all right.
Mhm.
That's going to wrap things up, folks. Thank you all
Whew.
for joining us. We hope you had fun this evening. And if you're an audio listener at whatever time you listen to this podcast. So, uh, we'll be back next week. We will. It's not Christmas Eve yet. So we will be back
Nope.
next week for another episode. I will be back on Saturday, December 19th, playing World of Warcraft Shadowlands, because I think that went over really well. Folks enjoyed that. So until then, uh, stick around, stay tuned for all that stuff. If you want to see more of our content over at 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. Over there, you can find artwork, comics, streams, podcasts, and more. If you want to help support that content, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. I'm going to put that link right in the chat there. Didn't do it right. There we go. Over there, you can get early access to comics, access to behind the scenes Tales of Jamora content, exclusive artwork, and more. Um,
Yeah.
and our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can check out his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. So, as always,
Yeah.
have fun, everyone, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.
Bye, everybody.